Welcome again to another in our series of People, Places, and Things of the Bible. Our topic for today is the people of Nazareth. Our text comes from the Gospel of Mark, chapter 6, verses 1 through 6. He went away from there and came to his hometown, and his disciples followed him. And on the Sabbath he began to teach in the synagogue, and many who heard him were astonished, saying, "Where did this man get these things? What is the wisdom given to him? How are such mighty works done by his hands? Is not this the carpenter, the son of Mary, and brother of James and Joses and Judas and Simon? And are not his sisters here with us?" And they took offense at him. And Jesus said to them, "A prophet is not without honor, except in his hometown and among his relatives and in his own household." And he could do no mighty work there, except that he laid his hands on a few sick people and healed them. And he marveled because of their unbelief. And he went about among the villages teaching. It is perhaps a lifetime's worth of study as to why people do and don't believe. What makes certain people believe in the most unlikely of things while rejecting the most obvious conclusions before them? And how we formulate our belief systems. Someone once quipped, "An expert is someone from out of town with a briefcase." One of the intriguing aspects of believing something is the weight of which the facts can be measured against where a person comes from and how well we know them. This comes into play in the life of Jesus. Undoubtedly, Jesus' credibility is called into question by virtue of his association with his hometown of Nazareth. So much so that he quotes the proverb about where a prophet is honored. Unfortunately for those in Nazareth, they would lose out on the most valuable treasure the world could behold, simply because the messenger was who he was and where he was from. This proverb that Jesus quotes is timeless across cultures, countries, and continents. So much so that we are all subject to the parameters of its truth. Must I reject something simply because of its source? Truth, by its very nature, can withstand all scrutiny. We simply cannot allow our prejudices and preconceived notions to blind us to the truth that is brought before us. It is interesting that Mark records Jesus' reaction, and he marveled because of their unbelief. We do note a few times in which Jesus was amazed, besides this account here. The faith of the centurion in Matthew 8, verse 10. The Samaritan Leper in Luke 17:18. The Canaanite Woman in Matthew 15:28. In these cases, Jesus was impressed by their faith. But with those in Nazareth, he marveled at their unbelief. Even though they clearly perceived his wisdom and saw the mighty works he performed, they took offense. Were they, in fact, too proud to be taught by one of such humble circumstances? Did they feel they were above him and the lowly family wherein he came? Jesus said, "And blessed is the one who is not offended by me," in Matthew 11:6. Isaiah prophesied his rejection in Isaiah 8:14. "And he will become a sanctuary and a stone of offense, and a rock of stumbling to both houses of Israel, a trap and a snare to the inhabitants of Jerusalem." And again in Isaiah 53:3, "He was despised and rejected by men, a man of sorrows and acquainted with grief, and as one from whom men hide their faces, he was despised, and we esteemed him not." As a little baby, Simeon prophesied his rejection. We read in Luke 2:34, "And Simeon blessed him and said to Mary his mother, Behold, this child is appointed for the fall and rising of many in Israel, and for a sign that is opposed." May we not make that eternal mistake that they made in Nazareth by rejecting him. Lord willing, let's meet here again tomorrow and look at more people, places, and things of the Bible.